Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon podcast. Today, we have a special guest. And if you've been listening, we've been talking to business leaders across Asia. And today, our guest is actually from my favorite island, which is the island of Penang. And he's actually right now there. So we have Reuben Ch'ng here with us. And when I used to know him, we were from different companies in the same field. I was in Next Academy as the head of growth, and he was in a similar role at this company called Lead. And then after sometime we crossed paths and we did collaborate. If you go and search for my name, you'll find an interview I did with him some time ago with Lead, and he interviewed me about LinkedIn marketing. That was some time ago. So today, Reuben Ch'ng, he is the founder of Daily CMO. And he runs the conference, the Underdog conference, every year, and it is coming up actually very soon. That's why I'm getting him on the pod. He's also the owner of Cat Studio, which is his music studio that he's running. And also, he used to be, of course, the head of marketing for Lead. Reuben, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bob, for having me. It's nice to be here, and I hope to be able to give as much value as possible to you and
Reuben, are you taking a
listeners to
photo?
this. Yeah, I am taking a video actually. So yeah,
So it's are you posting on Instagram later?
I will thank you.
Okay, thank you. So right now, thank you for coming on. So you are in Penang right now. So of course, Penang
Yes.
is very famous here in Asia. I've had guests from Penang as well. So tell us something, maybe a lesser known fact about Penang.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the food because everybody knows about the food already. Some people think it's overrated. So I'll talk about the people here in Penang, right? Penang is like one big village, right? So if you live in Penang, if you grow in Penang, right, you kind of like know everybody in Penang. So you go to a mall, you will see someone that you bump into someone that says hi to you, right? That's how small Penang is. So when you have a road bump, when you come into a problem in Penang, somehow everybody will come and give you a hug in Penang. That's Penangites, right? So if you're Penang, maybe you related to this. We are a very close-knitted community. People will be like, Penang Lang, Penangite, right? You don't get this kind of thing elsewhere. So that's something I experienced as a Penangite. And even right
Awesome.
now, when I'm not even based in Penang anymore, but when I come back to Penang, I will see someone I know from years before at any random places around Penang. So that's how small Penang is.
Awesome. Which part of Penang are you at right now?
I'm in Green Lane right now. That's where my
Oh,
music school is right now as well.
I love Green Lane. I think Green Lane is famous for the food court, right?
Yep.
So I love the Green Lane food court, Hokkien Mee, and this is maybe my follow up question to this, right? I've been to Penang, and it is small yet jam packed, or congested in a way. So for example, I believe
Mm-hmm.
you are right, but do you, let's say, have friends in the other part of the island? That means Green Lane is sort of the front part, and Georgetown, Green Lane, and then there's actually like Feringhi, and then to the back is Balik Pulau. The back. Do you have friends there, or do you know people from that part of the island?
Yeah, of course, of course. So a lot of people right now they're moving to this place called Balik Pulau, supposedly to be an upcoming area, but it's taking a lot of years now. So a lot of people are moving there. It's quite a drive there though. It's like a maybe like 20-30 minutes drive from the usual places, right? So here's how Penang is set up like, right? The island is Penang. Beyond the island is not Penang. That's how Penangites will look at at how it is, right? So if you are from the not from the island, you're kind of like not a Penangite. So
100%.
that's
Yeah.
the consensus of Penangites here. La. So but that being said, yes, I do have friends mostly in the island and some friends over the bridge as well.
Yeah, I go to Penang a lot. I have a lot of family there. Fun fact, my
Hmm.
father was born in Penang Hospital in
No way.
1952, like before
Oh,
independence. So he will tell me a lot of stories about Penang before the independence and things like
okay.
that. So I have a lot of cousins in Penang actually, and I just was there last month.
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting. It is like what you said, right? Like Balai Pulau from Green Lane is actually technically not very far away. It is
hmm.
technically maybe not 30 kilometers, I would say. It was not very
Yeah,
far. In KL,
yeah,
probably you reach there in half an hour, but because of the structure of Penang, you go through traffic lights and go through more small roads, then it takes some time to reach there.
yeah.
So that's something interesting about Penang. All right, so let's get into it. So, Ruben, so when we got connected last time, you started your career in training, right? And that's how I got to know you in the first place. So how do
Hmm.
you get into training?
I think my first, you can call it occupation or a business in my career, right, was being a music instructor. So you can call that training. So very from a very early stage, at the age of like 15, 16, I was already teaching. So I was teaching kids to play the violin, to play the piano. So I think that got me into training. But your question, right, how we got into the training is more towards
The marketing
corporate
training.
training,
Yeah.
marketing training, right? So I think one thing led to another, right? So in the beginning, I was trying to figure out, like how do I market my own music school, right? So I did a lot of trial and error, digital marketing, and this was when digital marketing wasn't even known as digital marketing. It was known as internet marketing. Uh, Now, if you say internet marketing, people will think you're a scammer, lah. So I learned a lot of things on my own, right? So and because I'm already been training and teaching people, right? There's this tendency of like, hey, I can I like to write about things. I like to share about these things to people. And that kind of got me into training, right? Because people were like, hey, can you speak at this workshop, this event? And then one thing led to another. And then I found myself doing training and I enjoy conducting training all the time.
Yeah, I imagine that because you need a bit of background with training. I
Hmm.
myself, being on the other side, that like I mentioned just now, I was in another company and also in training as well.
Yeah, yeah.
My parents both are teachers, so
Oh,
I have that training
strict
gene in
childhood.
me. Yeah, I have that training gene in me. So
Hmm.
I can imagine. Yeah, you have a bit of exposure and a bit of experience already when you start training into marketing.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so after that, you move on to lead. So you also was or part were part of lead, and you co-found it as well. So how did you actually have the idea? How did lead come about?
Okay, so to answer that question, I have to rewind a little bit. So I was a musician, then music producer, and I was doing a lot of marketing for my own business, right? I was doing a lot of, and as a music producer, I was producing a lot of advertisements, jingles, and kind of got into the marketing sphere, marketing space, right? And I think this was sometime in 2013 or 2014. I decided like, hey, I love marketing. I want to help some other businesses do marketing as well, right? And eventually, by hook or crook, I started doing that. So through the years of doing that, I had one client who was the other co-founder of Lead, right?
Mm.
And I helped him with some projects, some of his marketing, some of his branding, and eventually say, hey, there's a potential for this to grow into something huge. Do you want to partner up? And I put all, or rather most of my eggs into this project. And then we partnered up, and that became Lead.
And I remember you at lead, right? You train the
Hmm.
marketing lead. Also does a lot of technical stuff. Like I was part of Next Academy. Also does the all the data science, coding, and things like that. Were you also were you also part of that world?
So at least we were doing courses in data science, web development, and marketing. So in that order, right? So data science is like 60, 70%. Web development was like another 10 to 20%. And marketing was a very small, you could call it a very small division or the small syllabus that we actually teach. So it's a very, very small thing. So we are mainly known as a data science school. So in my role in there, right, what I did was I marketed these courses, right? And then, hey, there are also people who wants to learn digital marketing. So we set up a small little bootcamp style digital marketing course, and I taught a bit of marketing as well. So that's how it's structured at least.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Quite similar to my experience. Quite similar. And yeah, and then now today you run the daily CMO. Like, so what made you venture out your own and now run this agency slash marketing knowledge website?
Okay, so there's the beautiful part of the story, and then there's the bad part of the not so beautiful part of the story. Which one in here?
Which one? Both actually both.
Both. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay. Um, All right. So I think that the question you're wondering is why did I leave Lead, right? Why did I leave this amazing business that we have built? Um, it was quite unfortunate, but I actually went into a little disagreement with my co-founder, right? And okay, so I will keep the story very, very short, but I'll say that we ran out of money. Okay, we ran out of money. And one of the ways to save the business, right? One of the ideas we had was to run an event and sell tickets, right? So I went on to book a place, and the place was Common Ground, and we decided to run an event. And then halfway through, my co-founder said, "Not sure if this is something we want to do." And that was the point where I like, okay, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna split and go on my own, right? But what the problem was, the place, right, that venue was tied to me, my name. So I was liable to pay for the event. And I felt like, okay, what am I gonna do right now, right? Like I've got an event a venue that I have no event to run, and what am I gonna do? So I asked for an extension for the event, like not this month, but the following month I'll run something there, and decided to do a marketing conference. And the marketing conference became known as Underdog, right? And why the name Underdog is because at that time I felt like an underdog again, doing everything on my own again, right? So that is why it's called Underdog. I ran that first conference just to actually cover costs for the venue, right? And I don't know how I did it, but hook or crook, the event was a success. I actually recouped I recouped a bit of revenue. I actually made some big profit for myself and covered the whole event place, covered everything, and it became a thing because I realized that people enjoy the event. So after that, I ran a second time, a third time, and now next month is going to be the fourth time, right? So now when you sign people up in an event, then I felt like, okay, these people, right, they need to have something to continue on. So the event is just a one-time occurrence, but what's going to happen after that? And the idea of a newsletter came into the picture. That became Daily CMO. So I actually stole the idea from this site called Daily Stoic. Stoic. Yeah, by Ryan Holiday. So the way it works is he sends a small little story, a tip, and a small story every single day. That's why it's called Daily Stoic, right? And I thought, like, hey, it'd be nice to send a daily marketing tip to these people who have came for the event. So I started Daily CMO. So that's
So
like the quick gist of it.
wow, that's not an ugly story. That's a great story. So it kind of reminds me of what I used to do also, and
Yeah.
is the Daily CMO right now a newsletter by itself?
It is. So you can see that I stole parts from it, like the Hustle newsletter. I
Oh,
love reading the Hustle. So
I'm a
parts
big
of
fan
it,
of the hustle, and I'm a big fan of Sampa lah.
yeah,
Sampa,
Senpai, yeah.
yeah, big fan of Sampa, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see how it all came together, right? So I stole a bit of things from ideas from Senpa, the Hustle. I stole a bit of idea from Daily Stoic. I love the idea of Seth Godin's, uh, you know, lesson on writing every day and posting something every day, publishing and shipping every day, right? So that became Daily CMO. So Daily CMO is a newsletter, right? I share a little story every single day, hoping that it will help somebody do better marketing. And the idea is to build an audience, right? And with an audience, you can do so many things. You can run workshops, you can help them with your services, you can run conferences. And so I'm in this process of learning and also building that audience base.
So today, so how many subscribers you have today for Daily CMO?
Very small. We are about 1 year-ish right now. We have about 600 plus subscribers in the list.
Yeah, it is not about the size, but the quality of the subscribers, as I would
Oh
say.
so with quality, right? Our email open rates are about 40 to 50%. So I think as a marketer, I'm humbled to say that that's quite a good benchmark, right? Because I know the benchmark in the market is about 20% ish. So I'm getting about 40 to 50%, and this is emails that are being sent to people every single day. So I think that's something that it's kind of a little achievement for me. But of course, from here I have to look at growing the size of the subscribers.
And yeah, I hope one day you become the next Sam Parr and exceed it one day. I hope. I'm not sure if you want to, but that is the news. That is the new sexy business newsletters. This year, a lot of people started newsletters in
Yeah,
the
I
hope
know,
to
right?
become the next hustle. So
Mm.
right now today, just to understand what you do today. So you have the daily CMO, you have Underdog Con coming up, and any other business going on besides the studio.
You mean any other things
Yeah,
I'm working on?
do you do agency work? Because you have an audience, like you said, do you do
Right, right,
agency
right.
work, do you do training, things like that?
Yeah, so two things that is coming up right now, right? Is one, yes, I'm doing servicing for some businesses, mostly in the SME, medium-sized business, and also funded startups. Um, so the thing about building a community, having like a conference, having a newsletter, is that people will come and reach out to you and say, "Hey, can you help me out for this?" Right? And in the beginning, I felt like, okay, I wouldn't want to take this on, but after a while, I felt like, maybe I should take on two or three clients just to help them and just to keep my knife sharp, because if you don't do marketing for a long time, then you lose it. You don't have content to talk about. So yeah, I do have like clients that I take on, uh, acting as an agency. So what I cover is things around the digital marketing space. So what I do is I normally look at the strategy point of things, right? So I look at the company and say, okay, you know what are some ways that would you need to acquire clients, and every business is different, every company is different, right? So maybe for this company, one of the best ways to acquire clients is to build a funnel, run ads. Maybe for this company, one of the best ways is to run events. So it really depends on the companies I work with. And then from there, I will come up with a strategy. Some of the things I'll do it in-house with my team. Some of the things we'll outsource it or work with other people out there
Mm,
to get the job done. So that's how I'm structured around things.
mm,
Um, and the second thing that I'm building towards too is to come up with workshops. Not courses, but workshops. Maybe you might be familiar with this, Bob. So basically, workshops are when people come together, right, and they put work in. They don't just watch a bunch of videos and watch a bunch of videos, because if you want to watch a bunch of videos, you can do it on YouTube, you can do it on Udemy. You don't need another course, another marketing course, another thing like that. But I believe in the power of workshops. So they come into a workshop, and every single day they do a bit of things, and by the end of like 2 weeks, 1 month, they will have a finished product.
mm.
So the courses that the workshops I'm building is going to be focused around the marketing niche. So things like a workshop on SEO, a workshop on gamification, a workshop on paid advertising. So in that sort.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. So there's an agency and potentially workshop, train sort of workshop, business going around.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm building towards now. And I think it supplements everything that I'm trying to build in a good way, because on one end we have a conference that's constantly going on, and then if these people want to uh, pick up a new skill, they can go for the workshops, and if they want to just hire someone to get things done, that's the service arms comes in. So it's like a little mini ecosystem, I think,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's all in
I
the
like
process
that.
of building.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that. This podcast also is part of my ecosystem, as I mentioned to you. In my
like
so
a
like
flywheel, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So maybe like my question as a marketer, so I like to geek out,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So now you have so many things going on. So which channel works for you the most? Like which client acquisition channel is working for you the best?
Best as in acquiring clients.
Yeah, acquiring clients or workshop or things like that.
All right, so the way I acquire clients, right, is very inbound. So I don't do any outbound sort of activities at all. And a lot of them, they come to me, right? They reach out to me. And I think this comes from the events that I run. So once I run an event, you're putting yourself out there as a thought leader. Um, and through the emails, when you write, when you share content, people see you as like a thought leader in the space or in the area you're talking about. And somehow or rather, they'll come and approach you and say, hey, I got this problem. I need some help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the best way would be for me, events and also content.
Yes, I love that approach because that is the warmer approach where you don't have to pitch, you don't have to sell, and they
Yeah.
also trust you. So I imagine I also speak at events, so the best clients comes from speaking events because they already are warm to you. And
Yeah.
and maybe my next question is maybe what are the lessons that you have learned? So now you are an underdog again. What are the lessons you've learned since you've now become an underdog?
Lessons I've learned. I think one of the biggest lessons, or maybe two, I'll share two lessons that I've learned, right? As a marketer, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is out there building stuff, right? Is number one, I think you have to be resourceful, I think, right? And that, I mean, that's what it means to be an entrepreneur, right? So you either have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. I know this sounds like woo-woo and all that, but it's true, when you are down and alone on your own again, like a solopreneur, it's all up to you. There's nobody coming to save you, right? So you really have to be resourceful, right? And resourcefulness is something that everybody have at their hands, like, it's whether you really want it or not. I think unfortunately a lot of entrepreneurs, they sit down and wait, right? They sit down and wait. Oh, the event's coming in 2 weeks, not enough registrants. Okay lah, that's it lah. Oh, my ads are not working. That's it lah. But there's a lot of other avenues and things you can do, right? And I think being resourcefulness is one of them. So it's one of the biggest lessons is you have to be resourceful, right? I kind of lost my thought for the second one, but maybe we come back to that later on.
I want to comment that. I want to comment that because I know exactly how you feel when you share the story. You have an event space, you already paid maybe the deposit, and then you have to pay the rest, and it's on your name. And doing an event by yourself, I 100% I 100% know how hard it is. Like just go all in on that. It's not easy, right? Running, I know you've run ads, I know you reach out to people, you've done a lot of things. It is not easy. Now it's your fourth one. I think you're cruising with the fourth one, but the first one, it doesn't make sense for a normal person to do it. It doesn't make sense. You have 2 months, you don't have a concept, you don't have an audience yet, right? It doesn't make sense. But you pull through, and that is where the point of resourcefulness come in. You use whatever you have. In my experience, as a marketer, when you are spending, let's say, you are working for a company, you are more confident because, okay, if things doesn't work out, it's not on me, right? It's not on me. But when you venture out myself, if the event fails, that is on you. So I really commend that. So
and I think the second thing to add on, that if you ask what I've learned, right, is sometimes I think you got to just to take a step back and realize that things are not as serious as they may be, So like as marketers, you run ads or you do something and you're just like so afraid of the outcome, like, oh no, why not enough leads, why not enough sales, and you get so worked out of that, you cannot sleep. I think for all marketers who spend anything on advertisement or marketing, they feel that kind of thing to a certain extent. Or maybe you have this tight KPI to hit. For me, it's running an event and looking like, oh, nobody is signing up for it. Oh, should we make a change? You get all these kind of doubts in the head. And what I've learned is, there's just so many things you can control, right? So as a marketer, you got to learn and look at everything like an experiment, right? So doesn't work, it's okay. Let's focus our effort and energy on things that we can control. Like, I don't know, just post one more Instagram post rather than sitting there and thinking like, oh, and focusing on what we cannot control, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. I know myself, having run a lot of events, it is the most nerve-wracking thing. It is the most running ads for events or investing in an event, because a lot of times people will sign up on the final day or like on the final day. So you will not have that assurance of, oh, I got so many people until it's very close, and it's like the nerve build up to that. And then you need to be like, have faith until like the last day.
So this is what people don't see, when you run an event or you market something, right? On the forefront, on your social media, you're like, oh, this is going to be the best event ever. But behind, you only got 10 people sign up and say, what's going to happen right now? But you just got to stick on it, focus on what you can do. Don't focus on what you cannot control, and trust the process. I know this sounds like again woo-woo and all that, but it's real, it's true.
It's not woo-woo. Like I've not had a lot of marketers on the show. I know you do your own stuff. I know you know your things, Reuben. So it's not woo-woo. All the things Reuben say is real. I know I can see the work behind his ads and the conference he's run, the amount of work going into it. I can literally see it. So it's not woo woo. Like I know a lot of marketers out there will say, oh yeah, AI, whatever, a lot of woo woo happening, but
Yeah.
it's the real deal. Right. So maybe next question also about lessons lah. So you've run now is the fourth one coming up. So
Yeah.
maybe what have you learned from running Underdog Con?
It really depends which angle of lessons you are looking at.
Mm.
Any particular angles that you want to touch on? Like
Okay, so maybe start with running it, and then after that, maybe what you learn from the speakers.
running it. Okay, I
Uh,
think running a conference, for me, one of the hardest things of running a conference is getting speakers. I just find it really hard to get people on. Um, because when you run things for the first time, right, you are basically nobody, right? Nobody knows you. Your brand is unheard of. They don't believe in you, right? And people don't trust that, right? And I think one of the second lesson I learned from that is you just have to put up a thick face and ask and ask and ask and ask. So when I invite speakers, right, I don't just ask like four or five or maybe eight of them. I will go and plan for failure. So I will assume like the 10% I ask is going to say no, right? So I end up asking like 40, 50 people. And at the end of the day, you realize that, everything comes to whether running an event or business, it all comes down to numbers, right? It's really just a numbers game. And yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned when organizing a conference, right? And beyond that, right, I think most people, they just want to be heard and seen, right? So the reason why UnderdogCon is so, I wouldn't call it successful. I think it's something that people love to go, but I wouldn't call it super, super successful. But I think it's the reason why people find UnderdogCon different and why people come to UnderdogCon is because it provides them for a different sort of experience, right? You probably have been to like huge conferences, thousands of people. You go there, you're like one little speck there, unseen, unheard, and you don't really like that feeling, And I realize that people like to be seen, right? So when they come to UnderdogCon, it's a very different feeling. It's very personal. It's very down to earth. Everyone is very warm, and people enjoy the experience. So one of the things that I did, right, to create this warmness in the event is to say hi to all of the attendees even before they come to the conference. And the way I do that is to send them a personal video. So every single attendee that comes on or signs up for UnderdogCon will receive a video that I made for them. I think this changes every single thing, right? I use this application called Bonjoro, bonjoro.com, but you can use anything, right? So let's say someone signs up, I'll record a video and say, hey, hey Bob, thanks for joining the conference. I appreciate you. And I'm just curious, what is one thing or two things you want to take out from this conference? Reply me, let me know, and I'll see you during da. This is a small 20, 30 seconds, and people appreciate that, right? It's a touch that they have not seen anywhere else. It becomes a purple cow moment, and thus the conference becomes something totally different.
Yeah, good idea. That is scaling the unscalable. So I believe that is that
Yeah,
personal touch that a
yeah.
lot of people don't neglect as well. And I see that this year you have so we'll get to the conference this year. This year you have quite a good number of speakers. You have like Ming Han, you have Sean Tan, which I follow, and then you have of course Peter Yong and many other speakers as well. So
Mm,
maybe like what is you said you have to follow up many times, right? But
yeah.
how do you
Mm.
normally get these speakers?
Okay, so apart from the few names you mentioned, I
Mm,
only know Ming Han, right?
mm,
So Peter Yong, I do not know him. Sean, I do not know him. All these people I didn't know him. So most of the speakers I invite to the Underdog.com, right, I do not know them. So what I do is I'll reach out to them on LinkedIn, right?
okay.
I would go and stalk them in a good way to see what they're doing, what their interests are, right? Would they will be willing to share? Would they be would they want to share on the stage? Would they want to build a brand? And I'll just stalk them and see what they're doing, and then I'll approach them in a way that fits them, right? So there's a lot of linking, uh, messaging. There's a lot of finding their emails and just emailing them. And if they don't respond, I even go down to the level of DMing them in their Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy, and I know that you had all very good speakers throughout the years. So maybe
Mm.
what have you learned from these speakers?
What I learned from these speakers,
Yeah,
I
you
think,
had.
well, I think a lot of people, right, when they look at these speakers, they feel like, oh, these speakers are so huge, so big, so far away from me, right? But the thing I want to do with Underdog.com is to invite speakers that are not 100 steps away from us, but maybe one or two steps away from us. And what you realize, right, is that these people are just like people like us, right? They're nothing, for lack of better, nothing special. They're just humans, right? Which maybe they had some extra time or extra experience in one or two things that they have done that you don't, right? And creating a lineup of speakers that is just one or two steps away from you becomes more comfortable, becomes more like you will look at the speaker sharing something and you say like, huh, that's a good idea, that's a good strategy. I can do that. Compared to going to a huge conference, someone a CMO or CAO or PepsiCo or Coca-Cola. Oh, how AI is going to change the world and how we are doing this omnichannel. Don't know, you look at you look at the content, you're like, okay, this is great, but I can't apply it. Right? Sounds good, I can't apply it, right? So that's the difference, right? So if you ask me what I learn from these speakers is that they're just normal people like us, right? Maybe they're just better in one or two things because they've done it more than us, right? And joining a conference, learning from them, uh, gives us this ability to take some of that and shortcut it in our own processes.
Yes, that is very good indeed. Like I like that point. Yeah. So if you listen to like, oh, like recently the MDEC had an event, oh, this is the one of the founders of OpenAI. I'm like, okay, but what can I do from listening
Yeah,
to him?
yeah,
But like all these, I personally know Peter Yong, and I know how he started. I know him before he started, sort of like
yeah,
when he was at the beginning of his channel and follow his
yeah.
journey. So I think a lot of things that he share will be very applicable as well. So yeah, now
Yeah.
is the time to plug, right? I'll clip this for LinkedIn. So why
All
should
right.
they attend the Underdog Con this year?
So many reasons. Okay, so the main reasons is if you want to learn something that you can apply immediately in your business, then I think you should join on the con. Second reason is you're gonna meet amazing people, and the reason I say that is because Underdog Con is a charged event, it's a paid event. There are no such things as a free ticket, and do not give any free tickets away for a good reason, right? Now, most conference organizers will give out free tickets, as we have discussed, because they get nervous about nobody attending the event, and then they get this like shame, because nobody attended the event, the tent looks empty. But I put on a very thick face. If it fails, it fails. But the thing about charging for an event is the people that come are usually like high quality, right? They are serious, they're driven, right? They'll stay from the start to the end of the conference, right? And these are the kind of people that would invest in your business. If you go to an event where there's a lot of free audiences, do you think these people will invest in your business? I don't think so. They are there in the conference, they're scrolling their phones, not even paying attention, right? So you have limited time in your life, say, right? Would you want to spend it at an event where you have a lot of freeloaders, people are just there for the food, or do you want to go to an event where you actually have an actual impact, actual good connection, actual good opportunity? So that's Underdog.con. So you should come to Underdog.con.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, that is the good pitch there. I love it. I love it. Yeah, because a lot of events I attend, attended a few recently, or the company sent them, whatever. They're just there for the tea breaks and just there to sit. And burn time. I don't have to go to work today. But yes, good point there. Thank you so much,
Hmm.
Reuben, for taking the time. I learned so much today. I think one thing that I would add is like you learn from actual practitioners. You don't learn from,
Yeah,
let's say, the
yeah,
CMO,
that too.
from PepsiCo, whatever. Like all the guests that I see on your list are real practitioners, and I know they know their craft very well. Thank you, Ruben. I learned so much today, and all the best for Underdog Con as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Thank you.